and the head is pushed against the pelvic floor. At that time, rotation takes place, and from occipital transverse, the head is going to become occipito anterior. With further descent, the baby delivers by a movement of extension, and after extension, restitution and external rotation takes place. तीसरी चीज जो मैंने बताई है, जो मेरा ख्याल है कि आनी बहुत जरूरी है, वो तीसरी चीज है हाउ टू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन अ कैपेट एंड मोल्डिंग. व्हाट इज कैपेट, व्हाट इज मोल्डिंग, एंड इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कैपेट of obstructed labor from the capit, which can form if the labor is prolonged. Sometimes women come to us who have got rupture of membranes, and the time it took for the pains to start after the rupture of membranes was quite a few hours, and that is why a small capit starts appearing, and which is absolutely normal and nothing to worry about. So we were discussing the definition of second stage of labor, और हमारी जो यहाँ कैंडिडेट थी वो बच गई हैं क्योंकि आप लोग कनेक्ट हो गए हैं. तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द सेकंड स्टेज ऑफ लेबर नाउ. सो बेसिकली सेकंड स्टेज ऑफ लेबर स्टार्ट होती है व्हेन फुल डायलिटेशन ऑफ द सर्विक्स टेक्स प्लेस टू द डिलीवरी ऑफ द बेबी. लेकिन जो इम्पोर्टेंट बात है सेकंड स्टेज में कि सेकंड स्टेज जो है उसकी अपनी दो स्टेजेस होती हैं. फर्स्ट इज द पैसिव स्टेज एंड द अदर इज द एक्टिव फेज. एक्टिव फेज हम उस कंपोनेंट को कहते हैं व्हेन द मदर हैज अ डिजायर टू पुश or to bear down, and that is a very important stage, and unnecessary prolongation of that stage can result in hypoxic ischemic insult to the baby, and that is what should be taken care of. And the second is कि dilatation तो full हो चुकी है, यानी जो passive stage है उसका मतलब है कि dilatation has taken place, but there is still time that which the baby will take to rotate and descend into the pelvis. So मैं एग्जांपल दे रही थी आज सुबह की, जब मुझे फोन आया तो उन्होंने कहा कि the cervix is fully dilated but the vertex is still above zero station and it might take time. So the baby took its time and rotated and came down. एक बात और कहनी है, in primary gravidas it is seldom that you find the vertex above zero station at full dilatation. So if somebody would call me and say that at full dilatation the vertex is still at -1 station, I would really rethink cephalopelvic disproportion or malrotation. ये दो चीजें मेरे जहन में जरूर आनी चाहिए अगर सर्विक्स फुली डायलेट हो गई है प्राइमरी ग्रेविडा में and the vertex is still above zero station. An important point which we discussed before you guys joined us was that this talk may not finish in one lecture, so we might be giving 2 or 3 lectures, but the topic is so important that I do not want to hurry this topic, and I want to take it slowly and easy for each one of us to understand what the second stage of labor is. So thank you. So the importance of second stage of labor, why is it important? Why are we discussing it today? Why have I chosen second stage of labor as a topic for discussion with my first lecture and first talk to you today? The reason that I've taken out this topic for discussion with you is that this topic is not only theoretical, it has got a practical implication for each one of us who's standing over here, because we are all primarily obstetricians and then gynecologists, most of us. So the problem with the second stage is that second stage is the time when the baby is at maximum risk. And if I can say that when is the maximum time when there is risk of complication to the mother or the baby, that is the second stage of labor. That is why second stage of labor is not just that call to you that the patient is fully dilated and then we all forget about the patient. But when the patient is fully dilated, it means that our attention should be on a one-to-one basis on that particular patient, because that baby is at risk. Even a baby which is absolutely normal, uncomplicated pregnancy is at risk. So why is the baby at risk and what are our worries? So we are saying that this stage is associated with a high maternal and perinatal morbidity and mortality. And you would all agree with me कि कोई फायदा नहीं 9 महीने पेशेंट को अच्छी तरह से देखने का if at the end of the day you are giving her a dead baby or a compromised baby. Now, why is it important? It is important because of the rapidity of the onset of the hypoxic insult or the hypoxic stress to the fetus. That is why it is important. And people who are working with me will remember that whenever they call me and say, okay, the patient is fully dilated, my first thing is 3 minutes से पहले pains नहीं आनी चाहिए. You guys remember? We always talk about it. Why do I say it like this and what does it mean? This is a crude term to say. But basically what it means is that if there are oxytocin-induced frequent contractions, they are going to result in hypoxic insult to the baby. And that is what is being trying to be said, and that is the most important thing. And that is not the only reason because of which hypoxic insult can happen. It is multivariate, multifactorial actually. So that is one thing that we are worried about. The second thing that we are worried about is the risk of perineal trauma. Because of all those pressures and things that the woman is going through, the baby is passing through the bony passage, and then the baby is going to pass through the soft tissues as well. So soft tissue injuries resulting sometimes in hematoma formation, which can be tears, which can be extensive. So the soft tissue of the mother or the perineum is extremely important, not only at that point in time, but also important from the point of view of what is going to happen to her perineum and the associated bladder and rectum in the future. So perineal trauma is something which is very significant, and we should be thinking about that. Now, presentation अब शुरू हुई है वैसे. So now what are the points of discussion that I've kept for today? And these are not only for today, as I said, they are going to be for other days as well. I don't intend to touch upon assisted vaginal delivery because that is a separate topic. But I thought that when you're discussing the points of second stage of labor, these are all the issues that we should be talking about. So, इसमें duration of second stage है, इसमें maternal support person, the presence of a maternal support person, and I think that the concept you might have heard about it, but it is a newer concept for all of you, and we are trying to introduce it hopefully very soon in our living room as well. The third thing is fetal heart rate, about which there's no two opinions. Then the presence of cord around the neck, which is nuchal cord. And I would be ashamed in saying, but we have a lot of gynecology doctors who will tell the patient that cord around the neck is an indication for cesarean section. And I really think that we should not be promoting this practice, so we are going to talk about it. We are going to talk about the pushing technique. How should the patient be pushing? How frequently she should be pushing? What is to be her position in delivery? What is the role of manual rotation? Oxytocin, should we use it? How should we use it? When and how and where, etc. Use of episiotomy. So I'm sure all of you know that the National Health Service in UK do not recommend episiotomy for routine deliveries. But if you look at us, we are using episiotomy almost as a routine in almost all of our patients. So what is a good episiotomy? What is the time to do an episiotomy? What should be the length of an episiotomy? There are multiple things that we need to discuss. And when we talk about an episiotomy, we must talk about giving perineal support so that we do not injure the perineum unnecessarily at the time of delivery. And the last is assisted vaginal delivery, which is not in the scope of this presentation particularly. So let's start by one. So the duration of second stage of labor. Now, this is actually, obstetrics is full of controversies and obstetrics is full of statements which keep on changing. Evolving field रहती है, obstetrics हमेशा से रही है और हमेशा रहेगी. So currently, the second stage of labor duration for a primary gravida is purported to be around 3 hours, जिसके अंदर epidural का 1 hour भी शामिल है. So 3 hours for a primary gravida, 2 hours for a multi-gravida. But what did I say in the beginning? That second stage is the stage which hypoxic fetal insult can happen, and not only happen, it can happen very rapidly. That is why it is important, and that is why when you look at these 3 and 2 hours, look at them with a pinch of salt and think about it, what's going to happen. So somebody might ask me this question, and people have often asked me that what is the absolute duration that you can wait for second stage of labor? So कोई absolute duration नहीं है. किसी literature के अंदर कहीं ये नहीं लिखा हुआ कि अगर इतने घंटे हो जाए तो बस इसका मतलब है इसको end कर देना चाहिए. So we have not been able to study as yet that what is the maximum duration. लेकिन recommended जिसके ऊपर इस वक्त हम चल रहे हैं वो ये है. So the question is, when the second stage of labor becomes prolonged and we declare it कि अभी हमारी second stage prolonged हो गई है, तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए? What are the things? So there are important decisions to be made if the second stage is prolonged. And one of the most important decisions to be made is, should we go for an operative delivery? Operative delivery does not mean a cesarean section. Operative delivery means operative vaginal delivery, and it could also be a cesarean section if need arises. But you have to think about the fact, what are you going to do? That is first question, if the second stage of labor is prolonged. And my second question to you would be, what are the interventions that we can put in place which is going to improve or minimize the adverse effect on the mother and the fetus? So ये दो बड़ी important points हैं जब maternal second stage जो है वो prolong हो जाती है. तो we have to make important decisions, and that is why when we are monitoring in labor, our senior most person should be there monitoring the second stage of labor, because it is an important stage in which hypoxic insult to the fetus, maternal damage, and a lot of psychological need also exists at that point in time. Okay, now the question arises that when this kind of thing happens and the second stage of labor becomes prolonged, what are the things that need to be assessed or addressed? तो हमें देखना है ना, ये तो नहीं है कि if the second stage of labor is prolonged, we come and say, okay, let me hand over forceps to me and I will deliver the baby. It should not happen like that, and it never happens like that. So it means that when the second stage of labor is prolonged, there are three things that you should be thinking of. One is the maternal factors, which we are going to talk about. The other is the fetal factors. And the third is a separate heading, which I put over here, which are the modifiable factors. So let's say that the pelvis is inadequate. The outlet is inadequate. So I would not be able to do anything about it, but I would be able to diagnose it and take the patient for an operative delivery. However, if the dose of epidural is an issue, if pain relief is an issue, if hydration is an issue, if the full bladder is an issue, these are all modifiable factors. So I have to be thinking about the modifiable factors as well, in addition to the maternal and neonatal factors. So second stage of labor अगर prolong हो रही है, the most important decision from the baby's perspective is what is the current situation of the baby. And you know, when I was thinking about it and when I was reading and writing about it and preparing this presentation, because I have made it a mission कि मैंने इसके बारे में हर जगह जाके बात करनी है, तो I realized that when we are monitoring the fetal heart, तो एक important चीज है जो कि हम सारे नहीं करते हैं, and I'm going to talk about it when we reach that stage. Now, this is basically where I'm going to talk to you about that what is the maternal and neonatal morbidity which is associated, क्योंकि हमने कहा है कि maternal morbidity बढ़ जाती है, mortality बढ़ जाती है, neonatal morbidity बढ़ जाती है, but what actually happens? So these are just a couple of studies which I put together for you कि यहाँ से मैंने ये चीजें देखी हैं तो इनको देखने की जरूरत है. Let's look at the maternal morbidity and effects on the mother first. Now the thing is that the most important thing is the more prolonged the second stage of labor becomes, the lesser chances that she's going to deliver vaginally. So it has got an inverse proportion to vaginal delivery. Number two, 4% increased probability of chorioamnionitis. क्योंकि आप बार बार उसका pelvic कर रहे हैं, intervene कर रहे हैं, तो उसमें आप लोग क्या aseptic measures को ध्यान रख रहे हैं, नहीं रख रहे हैं, that is something to be thought about. Maternal trauma. And you know, in badly managed labor, sometimes you will find maternal trauma even before the baby has delivered. You come and your junior calls you and you come and you see that the perineum is tight and bleeding already because of the many repetitive examinations that have been done. But the incidence of third and fourth degree perineal tears, which are significant from our perspective, is increased by 9%. The incidence of PPH is increased by 4% because prolonged labors, uterus finds it difficult to contract afterward. So if you have a patient who has got a prolonged second stage of labor, always think of PPH in those particular patients. Increased probability of developing fever. So if there is second stage is less than 1 hour, the probability is only around 3%. But more than 3 hours, the probability increases by 4 times and becomes 12%. Then 30-fold increase in the risk of operative delivery if the patient has been pushing. Now, for 3 hours maternal pushing, तो हम तो देखते ही नहीं हैं. So 3 hours का तो मतलब है कि we are going to end up in a seriously difficult situation. So we should be concerned about these things. Now, regarding the neonate, if I don't read everything out for you and I have to say it in one line, if there is prolonged second stage of labor, the risk of hypoxic insult to the baby increases, poor ABGAS score at birth, increased probability of admission to NICU, increased probability of developing sepsis, and increased probability of having morbidity and mortality, and issues like if there was shoulder dystocia, there can be injury to the brachial plexus, and so on and so forth. So baby will be compromised if the second stage of labor is prolonged, so you have to be extremely vigilant. कि मैंने 1, 2, 3 अगर आप ऊपर नोट करो, मैंने 2 लिख के उसको सर्कल किया हुआ है. ये इंपॉर्टेंट इसलिए है कि जो मैंने शुरू में आपको हेड्स दिखाए थे, they were I think around 11 heads. So I'm going to take you through them one by one so that you know कि हमने कौन कौन से कवर कर लिए हैं और कौन कौन से भी रहते हैं, क्योंकि कई दफा बीच में बोरियत हो जाती है, तो it will keep you with me, and we are going to stop at 9:30, और जहां होगा वहीं रुक जाएंगे, and the next class we are going to start from there. So the second is the presence of a support person in labor, और उसको दौला का term दिया जाता है. I actually don't know what is the precise pronunciation of daula, but I think that it has got a Mediterranean origin. And basically, daula means a person who's there to support the labor, and they are not totally untrained. So there are trained women who are there as support person to the woman in labor. Now the question arises, and I'm not going to go through these straight away, but my question to you first of all is, okay, what would be their role? So their basic important role is to allay the anxiety of the mother, to help her, to guide her, to support her. और अगर हम अपनी कल वाली लेबरिंग पेशेंट की एग्जांपल जो हमने सुबह डिलीवर की, तो we were all the dollars and we were playing the role of support people, क्योंकि I think that the difference between that particular patient's vaginal delivery and cesarean section was the availability of our senior registrar, who actually acted as a dawla too. And because she supported her, she talked to her, she sat with her, and she kept on telling her everything is going to be all right. And now these are the options. And the woman felt that she's a part of the decision making of her own labor. So I think this is important. And there have been actually many studies, and they can also do soft back rub, थोड़ा सा पेन रिलीफ कर दिया, थोड़ी सी एंजाइटी को एले कर दिया, थोड़ी सी फिजिकल सपोर्ट हाथ पकड़ लिया, ये वाली चीजें. एंड दिस रोल कैन समटाइम्स बी डन if no professionally trained person is available. This role can actually be played by the husband too, to some extent, or a support person. So in patients who are coming to me, I have recently started talking to them about the fact कि आपके साथ डिलीवरी के वक्त कौन होगा. सो और मैंने उनको ये कहना शुरू किया है कि आपके साथ जो लेबर में आएगा, क्या उसकी प्री डिस्पोजिशन पॉजिटिव है कि नेगेटिव है. और एक पेशेंट ने कहा मेरी मदर तो बहुत एंग्शियस है, तो मैंने कहा देन मे बी यू शुड कंसिडर हैविंग समबडी विद यू throughout the labor who has got a positive outlook and who will be your support and guide at that point in time. वैसे तो सारे ही आके बन जाते हैं, but it is important. So there have been studies which have been done regarding these support people in labor. और studies ने क्या show किया है, और basically these are not members of the hospital staff, as you know. So studies ने ये show किया है that there is decreased use of analgesia, decreased incidence of operative birth, increased incidence of spontaneous vaginal delivery, increased maternal satisfaction, and 15 trials have been studied by which these results have been shared and shown. So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि ये चीज importance रखती है. हम इसको as yet इतनी importance नहीं दे रहे, but this is an issue which needs to be dealt with. So what are you going to do as a healthcare provider when the woman is coming to you in the antenatal period? You will encourage her to select her doula during pregnancy. Who is it going to be? Then establish a relationship and discuss the preferences and concerns before labor. So I started telling my patients कि जिसने labor में होना है उसे एक दो दफा मुझसे भी मिलवाओ, ताकि we can also brief them that what is their role in the labor of that particular lady. Now that doula is going to bring experience and training in the labor and supportive role during childbirth. So there are hospitals, not here in Pakistan, but in countries who have got the list of dollars with them, and they can sometimes ask the patient to select their own support person, because those people are coming with a lot of experience and they are actually preferred over the support partners coming from home. So patient and doula can have conversations and meetings either on the telephone or face to face. So what does it mean is that if the doula is selected during pregnancy, they are there as a support person and they keep on contacting. So जब वो delivery के वक्त आती है patient, so she already has a fair idea who that person is and she can spend time with that lady in labor. मैंने इस बात पे बड़ा गौर किया था कि क्या can men be doulas, and I did not have an answer to that. So सोचने की बात. Now, the third and a very important component is assessing fetal well-being during the second stage of labor. And I think we will not be able to complete this fully, but I will take you through it, and then we are going to start from here the next time that we start talking about. This is basically a very, very important thing. And my question to you is, why do we need to assess fetal well-being so much during labor? You would say, कि तुमने तो कहा था कि hypoxic insult का probability ज़्यादा है. So I agree with that that is actually our prime reason that we say that hypoxic insult is more in the second stage. That is why we need to assess the well-being of the fetus. But the question arises, why? Why does it happen? Now, I have put in a couple of things because of which that hypoxic insult might happen, and it might develop very rapidly as well. So, the first one is the impact of maternal expulsive effort on uteroplacental circulation. And as I said कि वो मैं कहती हूँ कि 3 मिनट में पेन नहीं आनी चाहिए, उसी तरीके से मैं कहती हूँ कि पुश करवाने के लिए भी कोई तौर तरीका होना चाहिए. We are going to talk about that तौर तरीका later on, but it is really important to see कि maternal expulsive force को कितना कंटिन्यू करना है, कैसे कंटिन्यू करना है, उसको कब स्टॉप करना है. So most of the time the expulsive effort is very frequent and very prolonged, and nobody is actually monitoring whether the contraction has ended or not, and they keep on pushing. और अगर आप लोगों को याद होगा, आप तो बहुत यंग हैं, बट जब हमारा बचपन था तो लेबर रूम में ना जब डिलीवरी होने लगती थी तो half the town could hear that the patient is in the delivery room, because all the staff of the labor room would collect together and say push करो push करो push करो, और चीखते थे जोर जोर का push करो. तो वो आप लेबर रूम के जो मेन एंट्रेंस है ना, फ्लोर पे एंटर हुए हैं, तो यू कुड हियर दैट देयर इज अ पेशेंट इन द सेकंड स्टेज लेबर रूम. एंड इफ यू आस्क मी, आई रियली हेट इट. I hate it because I think that it oppresses the patient. It does not help in the delivery and it scares the lady. And actually it scares me too. So अगर मुझे कोई कहे ना कि तुम इस environment में आधा घंटा बैठो, मैं तो नहीं बैठ सकती. But why do I not like it? And that is this impact of the repetitive, prolonged, uncalled for maternal expulsive effort, because it is going to compromise the uteroplacental circulation. Why is it going to compromise the uteroplacental situation? Because when she is pushing with this much force, there is hypoxia. The prolonged pushing is going to expedite the hypoxia, and then there is going to be a problem. So this is one contributory factor in the second stage of labor. इसलिए हमने ये बात करनी है कि हमने कितना पुश कराना है, कैसे पुश करवाना है और कितना नहीं करवाना. The second thing is the repetitive and sustained compression of the cord and the fetal head. So if you're doing those maternal expulsive pushing efforts repeatedly, there is going to be likelihood of cord compression and the compression of the fetal head. Again, these are contributory factors for fetal hypoxia. And the third, which is extremely, and they are all obviously interrelated to each other in terms of maternal pushing. And the third is the collection of fetal lactate and the lactate levels which rise because of prolonged maternal pushing. अगली दफा के लिए मेरा दिल है अगर हम अपनी nurses को भी यहाँ लेके आए. I would like the labor room nurses and staff to be sitting here so that each one of them understands masla kya. So masla ye hai कि there is going to be collection of the lactate, and that is also going to contribute to the hypoxic insult. Now, nowadays people use CTG as an intermittent monitoring tool as well. And I don't know whether it is right or wrong. I think it depends on the convenience of the staff in the labor room. But typically in the second stage of labor, actually intermittent auscultation by a fetoscope is recommended, and that used to be the standard thing. So मैं इसको discuss नहीं करना चाहती कि whether we should use a fetoscope or a CTG monitor to auscultate the fetal heart. But I am trying to put through you a very important point, and that important point is that once the patient is fully dilated, her fetal heart sound should be auscultated every 5 minutes at least, if you are not putting up a fetal monitor in terms of cost or whatever. In a low-risk pregnancy, every 5-minute auscultating the fetal heart is enough. But, what is the but? कौन बताएगा? इसमें कोई मसला है, वो क्या है? I come into the labor room and there's this patient on the bed, and my doctor says, Dr. Veena, the patient is fully dilated. And I say, fetal heart. Or they put the probe and say, yeah, fetal heart. And I look at it for like 2 seconds and I say, yes, the fetal heart is 142 per minute. लिख दीजिए फाइल में, the fetal heart is 142 per minute. Am I justified in doing this? My question is this to you.
1 minute.
पहली बात. And दूसरी बात, the relationship to the contraction. The relationship to the contraction, because today I'm going to open your eyes by telling you that fetal acceleration is a negative factor in labor. And everybody out of you will be surprised and say कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, और मैं फिर तुम्हें प्रूफ करूंगी कि ये हो सकता है. सो अभी देखेंगे कि क्या होता है. ये मैंने कहा क्यों है, ताकि तुम सारे जाग जाओ और मुझे सुनना शुरू कर दो जो सो चुके थे ऑलरेडी. सो the important point that I've told you now is that it is not important only to listen to the beat once and say कि 142 है. You have to look at the, मैं इसको 1 minute तुमने ठीक कहा, लेकिन 1 minute का patience पता नहीं कितने लोगों में है. The important thing to understand is that you are not looking at the fetal heart, you are looking at the fetal heart rate and the pattern of fetal heart. That is why you need your 1 minute. And that is why before that, we should never put a fetal heart rate over there and say that everything is okay. It is not okay till the time we have looked at the fetal heart for a period of time. And we have also looked at the fetal heart rate pattern in terms of the contractions. Now look at the second line. It says auscultate immediately after a uterine contraction to detect the slow recovery of the heart rate, which is suggestive of a chemoreceptor mediated late deceleration. Okay? So why do you want to hear the fetal heart immediately after a contraction? Because you want to see if the fetal heart rate had gone down, which generally happens during the second stage of labor, did it come back to normal after the pain had ended? Did it immediately come back to normal or did it take time? ये दोनों चीजें मैं क्या कह रही हूँ, हमारे माइंड में चूंकि CTG है and we are always looking at the CTG, immediately coming back to normal means a V-shaped dip, and coming back to normal after a while means a U-shaped dip. So a U-shaped dip is typically considered to be dangerous and is an indication for urgent delivery. A V-shaped dip happening during labor is nothing to be concerned about, but there are certain other things which need to be seen before which you can say it is nothing to be concerned about. So मेरी बात को यहाँ तक गौर करना. मैंने क्या कहा है कि it should come back to normal. मैंने tachycardia का भी नाम नहीं लिया. We are going to talk about tachycardia, जो मैंने बात कही है. I'll hold you to that. The third thing is that if on auscultation, चाहे आप fetal heart से auscultate करें, चाहे आपने CTG का probe रख के देखा, if you feel that there are decelerations and these decelerations are persistent, you need to put up a CTG monitor. So you need to monitor these patients. And this I'm talking about from the perspective not only of private facilities, but people who are working in government hospitals. So all of us have at least 1 or 2 CTG monitors in our labor room, even in the government hospitals. And most of the time, we do not know how to make judicious use of them. This is the use that they have, not as fetal heart auscultators. There are fetal heart monitors. They should be used to monitor the women in the second stage of labor where it is actually required. Now, read the top line. It says, look for acceleration of fetal heart rate immediately after a uterine contraction when the fetal oxygen saturation is at its lowest level. So हमने acceleration, अभी हमने बात की थी कि हमने fetal heart rate देखना है क्या है, which means, what does it mean? We are looking at the baseline fetal heart rate. That is my first advice to you. The second advice is look for decelerations. And we talked about V-shaped and U-shaped decelerations. And we talked about the fact that if decels are persisting, we need to put up a continuous monitor. Third thing I'm telling you is that once the contraction settles down, look for an acceleration. Now, if you hear an acceleration, then it means that you need to be careful and you need to monitor the fetal heart for the next contraction. And what is going to happen when you monitor the fetal heart in the next contractions? You should be able to detect the presence of an atypical variable deceleration immediately followed by an exaggerated fetal reflex response to increase in the baseline heart rate. So अगर उसका baseline पहले 140 था, उसको deceleration हुई और अब उसकी pain खत्म हो गई and the heart rate goes up and it takes along with it the baseline, which reaches from 140, instead of 140 it goes to 160. This is the sign of trouble. जो मैं बात कर रही हूँ कि fetal heart rate acceleration को, अभी मैंने इसमें एक बड़ी important बात बतानी है जो कि शायद तुम लोग pick करो लेकिन मैं wait करूँगी. If you don't pick, then I will share it with you. So sometimes it could be due to repetitive and sustained umbilical cord compression. So ये जो finding हम कह रहे हैं कि जो इसको कहते हैं overshoot करना, exaggerated response of the fetal heart baseline to hypoxia. अगर exaggerated response बार बार आ रही है, it many a times can be due to umbilical cord compression. And not only is cord, it is umbilical cord compression does not necessarily happen with cord around the neck. It can happen without the cord around the neck as well. So अभी जो मैंने बात की that was about overshoot. So overshoot जो है वो क्या मीन करता है, उसका क्या इंटरप्रिटेशन है if we look at an overshoot during a CTG? Overshoot basically means that there is an excessive ongoing uterine activity. Either it is that. So excessive uterine activity is a modifiable factor, because most of the time we have developed this routine that we make sure that we put up oxytocin in the second stage of labor room, which according to me is not required always. So we need to be thinking about it. And then if you do not regulate the drops, if the contractions are too frequent, it means that there's going to be an excessive uterine activity. And if I might be able to show you, and you look at this, जो मैं तुम्हें कह रही थी कि क्या तुम खुद वो point raise करोगे कि नहीं? If you look at this, चलता है? हैं? यहाँ पे चल रहा था। अरे तुम लोग ना नलायक हो, अगली दफा से सब कुछ अपना लाऊंगी, मतलब ये भी नहीं चल रहा, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है, नो लाइट। So basically, if you look at this, there are two components. क्या है ये?
Contractions are regular fetal heart rate.
ये contractions है और ये fetal heart rate monitor है. So in the second stage, are you really doing that? The answer is no. You're only looking at the contractions, and that is why you are in a weaker position to interpret that CTG, because आपका contraction तो हाथ से देख रहे हैं और fetal heart आप CTG से देख रहे हैं. तो in an ideal situation, you should have the fetal heart rate probe over there as well. And the point that I was trying to show you in terms of overactivity of uterus again, excessive uterine activity. Excessive uterine activity show रही है, and because of that, ये देखो contraction आई, baseline नीचे गई और उसके बाद baseline ऊपर आ गई, और ऊपर आके कई दफा वो ऊपर persist करती है, कई दफा वो फिर नीचे जाके ऊपर आ रही है. So this is showing you a deceleration with an overshoot of the fetal heart rate. ठीक हो गया, यहाँ तक हम ठीक है. So this could be because of excessive uterine activity. वो आपने वो नहीं सही लगाया होगा. अच्छा चलो फिर सेल ही नहीं होगा. The second thing is unrecognized oligohydramnios. This is not important at this point in time because in second stage of labor, most of the time membranes have ruptured, but it's in a cord compression. And the third thing is the presence of thick meconium. So we need to be looking at the CTG, and I tell you that when you're going to go to the labor room today, you will be an anxious person, because तुम सारी चीजों को apply करने की कोशिश कर रहे होगे, and you might not be able to apply them immediately, but at least if you are sensitized to the problems that can happen in labor, you are going to critically start evaluating CTG. You are going to understand the importance of CTG in labor, and sometimes the need to do a CTG even in the even in the second stage of labor. So think about it, apply it, and gradually you will learn what is right and what is wrong. So the question is that what are the danger signs, and when an urgent action is required to avoid this hypoxic insult to the fetus, which is called HIE. ये term है आजकल जो कि fetal asphyxia के लिए use की जाती है. So if you look at it, the danger signs are, number one, the deceleration with the late recovery, जिसकी बात हमने पहले कर ली है. Number two, repetitive accelerations without a cause. Number three, rise in the fetal heart rate baseline. And number four, rise in fetal heart rate immediately after a uterine contraction. So if you look over here, look at the baseline, इसमें पहली baseline नहीं दिखाएगी, but if you generally look at it, the baseline is at 180. So this is a problem. हमारी जो patient थी, याद है आप लोगों को डेंगू वाली patient थी लेबर, हमारी patient जो fever के साथ होती है, and that is why I said that in patient with fever it is so difficult, because आपको ये नहीं पता कि ये tachycardia fever का है या ये tachycardia is a sign of danger to the baby. So it becomes very difficult to interpret the CTG in these patients. The second thing is late deceleration. देखो कितने आराम से recovery हो रही है. Just look at the pattern of recovery. Normally, the peak of uterine contraction should meet with the
start beginning with the deceleration.
जो last part है उसको कहते हैं nidus कहते हैं. Should meet with the nidus of the contraction. यानी contraction should be at the lowest when the contraction is at the maximum. और उसके फौरन बाद वो रिकवर हो जानी चाहिए. लेकिन इसमें contraction जब पीक पे आई यूट्राइन कंट्रैक्शन तो फीटल हार्ट रेट कम होना शुरू हुआ, लेकिन वो होता ही गया और फिर कभी इतनी देर से हो गया, हालांकि कंट्रैक्शन तो यहाँ खत्म हो गई थी, तकरीबन इस जगह पे कंट्रैक्शन खत्म हो गई थी, लेकिन ये कब नॉर्मल आया, यहाँ जब पेशेंट वाज रेडी फॉर द नेक्स्ट कंट्रैक्शन। ये तो देखना इसकी कितनी ज्यादा सिग्निफिकेंस है, एंड समटाइम्स यू सी दीज इन द सेकंड स्टेज ऑफ लेबर एज वेल, और उस वक्त आप कंफ्यूज होते हैं कि द पेशेंट इज फुली डायलेटेड, द हेड इज zero station. Now, are you going to do a cesarean section? Are you going to do vaginal assisted delivery? What are you going to do? Whatever you are going to do, the first thing is you identify. The second thing is you look at the modifiable factors, जिसमें veg भी आती है, oxygen भी आता है. Look at the modifiable factors, and the third thing is look at the rotation of the baby at planned delivery, which means that probably you should be looking at assisted delivery to shorten the period between the onset of these troubling signs to the delivery of the baby. And that is not going to happen only with pushing. So अगर हम पेशेंट को बहुत repetitive push कराएंगे, उस वक्त सिंटरसोनॉन शुरू कर देंगे, तो it is going to increase the hypoxic insult to the baby. तो फरूख इस स्लाइड को देखते ना और अभी आए हुए होते तो मुझे बड़ी सख्त डांट पड़ती, क्यों भला? बहुत ज्यादा लिखा हुआ है, बहुत ही ज्यादा लिखा हुआ है, और वो एक दफा मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन देख चुके हैं, मेरे ख्याल में उसके बाद मेरे ख्याल में उन्हें हिम्मत नहीं, उन्होंने कहा कि मैं बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकता। So, but there are important things over here and the words are very meaningful. मैं इसलिए इसको कम नहीं करना चाहती थी, क्योंकि मेरा ख्याल था कि मैं qualities of a good presentation को overcome कर सकती हूँ to share with you the facts and things that I actually want to say to you. So first let's go over the blue block. The blue block says कि स्टैंडर्ड सीटीजी गाइडलाइंस लेबर रूम की सेकंड स्टेज पे अप्लाई ही नहीं होती। ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि वो चीजें जो आप फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ लेबर में देख रहे थे और आप कह रहे थे ये सारा कुछ ठीक है, वो सेकंड स्टेज पे अप्लाई नहीं हो रहा। यू शुड बी लुकिंग एट द सेकंड स्टेज more critically, looking at the CTG from a bit different perspective. So this is very very important क्योंकि इस stage में rapid evolution of stress है, तो we should be worried. The second thing which I have been saying again and again, and I will not feel bad of repeating it once again, is that it is very important to recognize and diagnose subacute hypoxic pattern during the active second stage of labor. And the third thing is that due to rapid evolving hypoxia, the fetal pH can drop by 0.01 units once in every 2 to 3 minutes. अगर इतनी रैपिडली इवॉल्व होता है तो समटाइम्स इन द सेकंड स्टेज ऑफ लेबर अगर हम पेशेंट को छोड़ के चले जाते हैं 4 मरीजों को और देखने और 20 मिनट बाद आते हैं तो उसका फीटल पीएच कहीं से कहीं पहुंच चुका होता है, एंड देन इफ वी स्टार्ट शाउटिंग एंड सेइंग कि पेशेंट को जो प्रॉब्लम हो गई लेट्स डिलीवर, समटाइम्स द लैक्टेट लेवल्स हैव ड्रॉप्ड टू एन एक्सटेंट कि प्रॉब्लम ऑलरेडी हो चुका है आपके डायग्नोसिस से भी पहले। सो इसलिए सब एक्यूट स्ट्रेस को देखना जरूरी है। The other day we delivered a patient by cesarean section who was a patient who had carcinoma of the breast treated. She had frozen her eggs. There was only one embryo which they had placed by IVF in the uterus of the lady, and she was full-term pregnant. And we had discussed and decided, otherwise an uneventful pregnancy, and we had discussed and decided for an elective operative delivery just because of the fact that we did not want problems to be we didn't want to be surprised. And lo and behold, the woman comes in the labor room with contractions. And when I went to see her and she was having contractions, I said, "Iska section jo humne karna tha ek hafte ke baad." We said, "Let's do it now." So we shifted the patient, but while we were shifting the patient, the registrar on duty said, "Ke iska CTG dekh lein." And that CTG was of a hypoxic stress. And I had asked Naila actually to bring that CTG, लेकिन मैं कल में नाइला भूल गई। I would like नाइला कि उसकी फाइल में से उसकी CTG की पिक्चर लेके हम मुझे ईमेल कर दो, तो I would like to put it in the presentation and discuss it with each one of you कि हमने उसका पूरा CTG हुआ, हमने उतना टाइम लगाया उसको डायग्नोज करने में। Could we have diagnosed it a bit earlier? But basically that was the CTG of a hypoxic stress, which because हम तो उसको ऑलरेडी लेबर के लिए ही शिफ्ट कर रहे थे, तो हमने ऑलरेडी the patient was on the trolley. But when I opened the patient, she had abruption, massive abruption, and that is why the CTG was like that. So जो मैं बात कह रही हूँ कि जो बातें हम सीखेंगे आज, इनको हमने रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव में भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। हम Our future perspective may be when we look at the CTG and the final outcome of the patient, those CTGs are actually very important learning tools, and that we need to be vigilant and we need to be on the lookout for rapidly evolving hypoxia. Now, this piece is very important, and why that is why I've put it in red. This piece is important because of the fact कि जब fetal heart rate contraction में नीचे जाता है, it stays there maybe sometimes for 40 seconds, sometimes for 50, 60, maybe even as long as 90 seconds if it is a decel or if it is a prolonged contraction. But when the fetal heart rate comes up, and again Sana and other girls who are sitting here जो हम लोग आपस में काम करते हैं, हम कई दफा देखते हैं कि जब नेक्स्ट पेन आती है तो ये लोग कहते हैं चलो पुश कराएं दोबारा, तो मैं कहती हूँ नहीं अभी ठहर जाओ, एक पेन में नहीं कराते, अगली में करा ले. So the reason is that if the pain is coming for a prolonged period of time and there is staying there for 90 seconds or so, there is going to be definitely hypoxia during that period. Now, what is the fetus looking at? Fetus is looking at that time when there is going to be no contraction, which is in between contractions. अगर in between contractions time है खाली 30 सेकंड का, तो क्या वो lactate accumulation जो हो गई थी during the previous contraction, क्या वो बच्चा उसको overcome कर लेगा? नहीं करेगा ना, ऑब्वियसली नहीं करेगा. अगर आप एक एक मिनट को उसे पुश करा रहे हैं और बीच में 30 सेकंड उसे इंतजार कराते हैं और फिर पुश कराना शुरू कर देते हैं, इट मींस दैट देयर इज गोइंग टू बी ग्रेजुअल accumulation ऑफ लैक्टेट, एंड द फीटल पीएच जो हमने बात की थी कि 0.01 यूनिट एवरी 2 मिनट्स, व्हिच इज क्वाइट अ बिट एक्चुअली, उससे वो ड्रॉप कर रहा है. So with every passing 2 minutes, the fetal pH keeps on going down because you did not wait for that contraction to finish, the woman to recover, the fetus to compensate for that lactic acidosis and then move on. That is why this block is important, because it says that the time spent at the baseline, usually less than 30 seconds, is insufficient to dispose of the carbon dioxide and the metabolic byproduct accumulated during the deep and wide decelerations, the duration of which sometimes can actually be more than 90 seconds, and to obtain sufficient oxygen from the placenta to recoup and come back and fight it. So ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात है और इस बात को याद रखना जो है वो बहुत जरूरी है. आई थिंक मैं यहाँ बंद कर सकती हूँ क्योंकि 9:40 हो गए हैं. ये जरा देखें एक दो स्लाइडें और, and then I will stop and then we will come back and talk about it again next time. This is actually the subacute hypoxic pattern which I was talking about. और अगर आप इसमें देखें तो रिकवरी टाइम है ही बहुत थोड़ा, इतनी डीप डिसेलरेशन जा रही है, ये पीक ऑफ कंट्रैक्शन है, ये डिसेल है, look at where it is going till 80 and then it is coming back और फौरन कंट्रैक्शन आ गई, तो बीच का इंटरवल है, that interval is actually very short. And because of that deep interval, sometimes it becomes very difficult. इसके अंदर actually baseline बताना भी बहुत मुश्किल है. And when I was showing this to a class, they said baseline कौन सी है? बहुत मुश्किल है बताना कि baseline 180 है या baseline 80 है. लेकिन obviously the patient has been with you for a while and you would have been seeing her previous baseline. Number one, you would be able to know. Number two, if you look at it, तो जो peak of contraction, देखो contractions कितनी लंबी contractions है. So ये जो contractions लंबी हैं उसके अंदर ये dip आ रहा है, तो most probably the baseline over here is 180 and at the peak of the uterine contraction it comes down to 80 and then it is persisting for a while. काफी देर तक रह रही है. ये variable deceleration है if you look at it. तो ये काफी देर तक रह रही है और फिर वो दोबारा normal पे आई, but it stayed there for a couple of seconds and then it came down. So this is a dangerous game to happen and this is what we should be aware of. और तुम्हें इसको देखने से ये आइडिया होगा कि हम एक्सपर्ट्स नहीं हैं. हम एक्सपर्ट्स नहीं हैं, हम ये खाली सीटीजी ट्रेस देख के खुद ही फैसले सारे कर लेते हैं. तो it would be good idea actually to have a trace if in the second stage of labor and see actually what's going on. So while we are taking traces before induction of labor, after induction of labor, to me second stage of labor is a good time to take a CTG trace. और अभी हमने उस दिन discussion कर रहे थे and we decided that it would be a good idea to take trace in the second stage of labor, monitor syntosnon vigilantly and make sure uterus is empty, patient is well hydrated, there is a wedge in place, if need be provision for oxygen is there, she's reassured, not anxious, not pushing unnecessarily under poor guidance. मैं एक मिनट थोड़ा सा आगे जा रही हूँ. I think I will stop over here because there's quite a few slides to go. Otherwise मैं रुक जाती, खत्म कर देती, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल में ये खत्म नहीं होगा. So let's stop over here and let's talk about this. अगर तुम लोग चाहो तो you guys can go back and read about hypoxia and let's have a useful discussion next time in which you can actually bring CTGs and stories of your own patients. So अगर किसी के पास कोई patient है और उसके पास उसकी story है, bring that story. We will put it up there, and if you can share it to me beforehand, I will put it up on the screen for you, and we will make a slide of your story, and then see. And Naila, I would like you to get me that CTG because that is a very important story to share. Important stories हैं और उन stories को हमें देखना जरूरी है और उनसे learn करना जरूरी है. So, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Are there any questions? आपने उनको म्यूट पे तो नहीं किया हुआ?
इनको back करके ना उनके questions में written में लिखना है.
आ जाओ सना. Because this is not my computer, I am not able to.
मैडम आप आपकी आवाज क्लियर आ रही है? वो भी
मेरी आवाज आ रही है तो तुम लोगों
जी।
के कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं? I can answer them if you have any questions.
सर राशिद हैं इस वक्त, वो उन्होंने आपकी क्लास सुनी है, हमसे
ओए।
भी खबर ले लेते हैं.
ये तुम लोगों ने मुझे सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
सर का माइक म्यूट है.
सर का माइक ऑन करवाओ, सर कह रहे हैं कुछ.
मैं कहता हूँ सर.
आपके क्वेश्चंस इधर आते हैं.
ओके.
ये तो
वॉइस वॉल्यूम इज लो.
आगे आओ।
मैम बस तारीफें करें.
सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
वालेकुम सलाम. खालिद बलोच का बड़ा अफसोस हुआ.
सर बहुत अफसोस हुआ, दुख है.
हाँ बिल्कुल. चलो अल्लाह उसको जन्नत नसीब करे. He was a very good man. Good
A very
man.
fine man. और मैं डॉक्टर फारूक को कह रही थी कि उनका जो कहता था ना वो मशहूर था.
हाँ
His ability to smile and laugh off things. He was a very competent male gynecologist in Sargodha at a time when there were no male gynecologists in Sargodha.
बिल्कुल
And to
बिल्कुल.
get acceptance in Sargodha, being a male, I think that was huge.
हाँ बस देखो ऐसा ही है जिंदगी में. He was my registrar when he married. तो मैंने कहा तू FCPS नहीं कर सकता, तू MCPS के बाद बाहर हो जा.
हाँ,
But
हाँ,
he became a brilliant gynecologist with MCPS.
yeah, बिल्कुल.
क्योंकि उसकी ट्रेनिंग ठीक थी. उसका अच्छा.
बहुत जबरदस्त ट्रेनिंग थी. And now his son is a good gynecologist. I hope he does very well.
हाँ
बहुत अच्छा लड़का है.
चलो.